Hey, guess what? It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. For a list of other fun programming, please check out the albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like the Dave Berta Podcast, a podcast spotlighting Alberta politics.
Hey, guess what?
Hey, guess what?
Okay. Hey, guess what, guys? Hey, everybody.
It's a conspiracy!
Truth.
Okay. Charlie, do you know what episode this is?
9.
Thank you. Oh, that's so good. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and I will probably be wrong about everything, as usual.
I forgive you.
Because I'll be hog-tied at the rodeo on a sunny Saturday in July.
Whoop, whoop.
Sunny Saturdays in July. Doesn't that sound nice? It was minus 39 today.
Yeah, with the wind chill.
Brutal. Like, ugh. Cold. If you would like to see where we dug up whatever crispy ends and rib tips we're going to discuss, then please check out the resources in the episode description. Charlie churns that out episode after episode, and you can make his little heart just fill with the happy juices.
Pork cracklins.
Also, we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. Yay team.
Yeah, friendzos.
Yeah. You can check us out online at our website, It's a Conspiracy Podcast, where you can find links to our Twitter, at Is It a Conspiracy? That's run by the Irish Madman. Our Facebook group, the Instagram page, It's a Conspiracy Podcast. That's run by Greg. Our email is It's a Conspiracy at protonmail.com. And our Patreon page, patreon.com/It's a Conspiracy. Joining the tongue tango today is Charming Charlie. It's just the two of us. It's the OG duo. This kindly statesman will be presented with a few selected theories and interject as he sees fit. Now, Charlie, how the hell are you? Hey,
I am fantastic.
Right on that.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm super duper.
Hey, you know what you should do?
What's that?
Turn your beer around like this.
There we go.
That's good. That's good.
I'll get that napkin out the way.
Get that thing out of there.
Oh, and I'll get that. There we go. All right. Now, Charlie, with a yes or a no, can you tell me if you've heard of either of these two things?
Let's do it.
Number 1, GMOs.
Yes.
Number 2, Israeli Super Sharks Assassination Squad.
No. Do they have lasers?
All right. Subject number 1, GMOs.
Unnatural.
GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, are living organisms whose genetic material has been playfully tampered with by the scientisticians playing God via genetic engineering. The hilarious objective here is to create combinations of plant, bacteria, viruses, and animal genes that do not occur in the belly of nature.
Animal genes.
Yeah, animal genes.
Wranglers.
Right. Now, some things just don't go together, Charlie. We were talking about this earlier. Cucumbers and whatever hellspawn crap they put in to make it bread and butter pickles. That's just gross.
I think they add bread and or butter.
They don't put bread or butter in there because they don't taste like either. They taste like crap. They put crap in there.
Crap pickles.
I think if they put actual crap in there, it would taste better than putting whatever it is they put in there.
GMO, no you didn't.
Now, let's learn a little bit about GMOs here. So here's a
Ring the
quote
bell. School's
from Non-GMO Project. People are like, it's just not right. So here's a quote from these guys. Most GMOs have been engineered to withstand the direct application of herbicide and or to produce an insecticide. However, new technologies are now being used to artificially develop other traits in plants, such as a resistance to browning in apples, and to create new organisms using synthetic biology. Despite biotech industry promises, there is no evidence that any of the GMOs currently on the market offer increased yield, drought tolerance, enhanced nutrition, or any other consumer benefit. Now, people get scared at the thought of eating unnatural things, but despite that, there is a massive amount of GMOs in our food. So, like, basically everything we eat already, especially here in Canada. And that list is growing all the time. So even if it's something like
Apples.
yeah, these apples are a great example. They have the Arctic apples that don't brown. You can cut them open, leave them open, and they won't go brown.
Yep, they're really messing with our experiment.
Oh wow! Because we have our little what are we testing thing, and ooh, mama,
We had a real neck and neck race.
I wonder if it's going to finish this year or if we're going to get into the third season. Because right now I'm like, that's none of that stuff's going anywhere.
The only thing was your thing.
It went right off the bat, and that's I still think about that all the time. I'm like, how the McDonald's guy was like tripped on the way out of the gate, but yeah. So there's a huge push for proper labeling, and labeling, and a lot of other countries, particularly in Europe, have outright banned GMOs in certain ratios, in certain foods and goods, and in certain instances. So I don't know if anybody is like flat out banned everything, but a lot of places are like, well, you can't put them in beef, you can't do this, you can't do that, and there's a lot of regulations around them. Unfortunately, Canada is like, do whatever you want. There's there's no GMO labeling at all. So it's why it's a little bit of a different story here. Now, this is also from the Non-GMO project. They have a little FAQ section.
GMO FAQ.
GMO FAQ.
Yeah.
Yep. On their website, and here's the following question. So these are just a couple of their like sort of picking points. Are GMOs safe? In the absence of credible, independent, long-term feeding studies, the safety of GMOs is unknown. Increasingly, citizens are taking matters into their own hands and choosing to opt out of the GMO experiment. Are GMOs labeled? 64 countries around the world, including Australia, Japan, and all of the countries in the European Union, require genetically modified foods to be labeled. Canada does not require any GMO labeling. Which foods might contain GMOs? Most packaged foods contain ingredients derived from corn, soy, canola, and sugar beets, and the vast majority of those crops grown in North America are genetically modified. That's what I was talking about.
Why are you saying it like Macho Man?
So the big ones are animal products.
Give me some meat.
The Non-GMO project considers livestock, apiculture, and aquaculture products at high risk because genetically engineered ingredients are common in animal feed. This impacts animal products such as eggs, milk, meat, honey, and seafood. Charlie, you're allergic to seafood, aren't you?
I am.
Here's some seafood.
Oh, again.
Here's some crabs.
Oh!
I'm going to give you crabs.
Where did you get those from? Just pulled those out of your pocket.
Processed inputs, including those from synthetic biology. GMOs also sneak into food in the form of processed crop derivatives and inputs derived from other forms of genetic engineering, such as synthetic biology. Some examples include hydrolyzed vegetable protein, corn syrup, molasses, sucrose, textured vegetable protein, flavorings, vitamins, yeast products, microbes and enzymes, flavors, oils and fats, proteins, and sweeteners.
How do GMO affect farmers?
Because GMO are a novel life form, biotechnology companies have been able to obtain patents to control the use and distribution of their genetically engineered seeds. Now, there's a bunch of accounts of that. We're going to come back to these guys, but have you heard of Monsanto before?
Oh, heck yes.
Oh, okay. They're like the big one that everyone's like, man, those guys. So there's a lot of accounts of how it affects farmers, accounts of Monsanto having a farm. And then the seeds are like prone to blowing around.
Yeah.
Seeds blow over to the farmer's field beside them, grow as they are wont to do. And then Monsanto guys go over there and they're like,
hey, that's ours now.
That's our stuff and we're suing you.
Thank you.
So they have done that. That's the thing. We're going to come back to a Monsanto episode later on. But actually, Monsanto is not an entity anymore. They were bought out. They were bought out by Bayer.
Didn't they change their name?
I think the PR was so bad that like the aspirin guys or whoever they are. Is it Bayer aspirin? I don't know what it is. Yeah. Now, most GMOs are direct extension of chemical agriculture and are developed and sold by the world's largest chemical companies. So the long-term impacts of these GMOs are unknown. Once released into the environment, these novel organisms cannot be recalled. That is.
Come on back.
Yeah. Yep. No, we're not coming back.
GMOs, come on home.
Many people say. So the counter to this is that there's a lot of people that are like, no, GMOs, that's the key to solving world hunger and perhaps climate change. But the human element is what the supporters of this theory are like,
No, you can't be playing God. You can't put the digestive tract of a kangaroo into a cow and then put that into a tomato plant.
yeah, that's a real thing, man. Oof.
Rheumatos?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's
GMOs, brother.
Yeah.
What are we?
What are we drinking? We didn't do research on this. Part.
No. What does it say on the?
What are we drinking?
Is there? Oh, pause for research.
Remember that time you put that groovy tuba? That was so good.
We should bring that back, man. All right, let's take a clean take of this. So what are we drinking here, Charlie?
First, I would like to tell you that I am above the age of 18.
Okay.
So I can look at this webpage.
Okay. What are we?
says-
We are at the beer webpage, right? We're not.
We
here.
are at the
Okay.
beer webpage.
You're not looking at one of your silly pages.
We are drinking Analogue 78 Kolsch. 78 Kolsch is like music to your beers. It's a crisp, cold conditioned ale featuring a clean malt body that finishes dry.
Yeah, this is good.
I
Does it
dig
say
it.
beers like
Yeah,
with
it
an
does.
A?
It says
Like music
What?
to your
No.
music to your beers. It doesn't like it's not.
BEERS.
So it's not ears with a B.
Music to your beer.
Okay, because I was gonna say if it is ears with a B, it might be music to your bears, which would be a different thing. Because those bears, they can get their own music.
I know how to read, Andrew.
Okay, do you? Okay, sorry.
Music to your beers.
Beers.
It's a crisp, cold conditioned ale featuring a clean malt body that finishes dry.
And look at that label, man.
Yep.
Awesome.
I love it.
I love it too.
It's like, makes me think of records.
It is. It's so good, and it's like it totally killer. What do you call that? The circle thing on the front here.
Spider.
Spider. Is that what it's called?
You mean the record insert that changes
Yeah. It looks like a yeah. That's what that part's called. The spider.
Spider.
Of a like a turntable
record player. Yeah.
A record player.
Record player. That's Analogue 78 Kolsch.
Oh, okay. Now while we're pausing.
Oh, we're pausing again?
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of record players, what do you call a fake record player? A phonograph.
Hey. Wow.
Yeah.
Could you phone that in anymore? Phonograph that in anymore?
Well, that's going to take us to a word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Taproot Edmonton, your source for curiosity-driven coverage of our city, cultivated by the community.
Taproot publishes a weekly arts roundup, gathering up what's happening locally in theater, dance, the visual arts, the literary arts, and more. It's curated by Fonda Mythrush, a veteran of Edmonton's art scene and co-host of I Don't Get It, a fellow member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Subscribe to the Arts Roundup for free at taprootedmonton.ca. That's taprootedmonton.ca.
See you later.
And that takes us to the Monster of the Week with Charlie Scream. What? And it's pause time, but pause with a W, because pause.
This guy's great.
Okay. I'm all ears. I'm all beers.
I'm all beers.
I'm all beers. But beers with an A.
This week, our monster of the week, we're talking about Indrid Cold.
Oof.
This gentleman, this fine fellow, looks a little something like this.
Okay. I wasn't quite prepared for you to show me that. Okay.
It's important that you know what he looks
Okay,
like.
it is, clearly.
Indrid Cold.
Like a young Joe Pesci turning into a werewolf.
And he is an alien / interdimensional being.
Okay, I love it.
Indrid Cold, commonly known as the Smiling Man, is a purportedly humanoid entity. His name comes from his tendency to smile at those who encounter him. It's also said that he still visits West Virginia today.
West Virginia!
He's hanging out there. The Grinning Man is reported to be
Mountain Mama!
human-like in appearance, though it's commonly associated with UFO activity and is sometimes believed to be an alien. It's also believed possible that he is connected with the Men in Black.
Oh.
Yeah, you remember those guys.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. In his first sighting, he was described as being over 6 feet tall and wearing a reflective green suit with a black belt. Real stylish. He had a dark complexion and small beady eyes that were set far apart. And he could fly.
Whoa.
That could fly with his wings.
Wow.
He was
his wings.
He was described as not having any nose, ears, or hair.
And he's humanoid. Okay, what?
Humanoid.
He sounds like he has a face like just a bowling pin. Just like a blank cylindrical blob for a face.
Now that was his first encounter. In his second encounter, his suit was said to be blue instead of green, but he still retained his reflective property. So he's a real stylish chap.
Yeah.
Along with that, he was described as looking perfectly natural with slick back hair, a coat with the top 2 buttons unbuttoned, and having pants lighter than the coat, but still the same material. So they really put a lot of attention to detail in his wardrobe here.
It sounds like he came and he like very slowly caught on to like, I'll do a little of this, I'll do a little of that.
I'm gonna get back. Now next time I'll try some tan
Yeah.
pants.
Oh,
Ooh, the man in the tan pants.
How sinister.
Yeah, actually, the next sentence says, he was also described as being quite tan, though not dark, and looking like any normal... I'm going to try that one again. He was also described as being quite tan, though not dark, and looking like any normal human being. According to reports made by Woodrow Derenberger...
That's got to be a fake name.
Indrid Cold... Yeah, Indrid Cold sounds a lot more real than that. Indrid Cold came from a planet named Lanilus in the Ganymedes galaxy, and that there were 2 other grinning men by the name of Demo Hassan and Carl Ardo.
Okay, these are great names. I'm loving it. Oh, best part of it, any good theory is the names.
There's a quote from the first sighting.
Oh, here we go.
Jimmy nudged me and said, "Who's that guy standing behind you?" I just looked around, and there he was behind that fence, just standing there. He pivoted around and looked right at us, and then he grinned a big old grin.
Oh, that's good. Oh. So he could fly. Does he have any other?
Indrid Cold. It's been spotted like 3 times. Of the third appearance, the third sighting, it was said, it was a man, a big man, very broad. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me.
Oh, my goodness.
I screamed again and hid under the covers. When I looked again, he was gone.
So he sneaks into your room and he smiles at you.
Yeah. So it's commonly believed that Indrid may be an alien entity and is supported by its close connection with UFO activity and with Derenberger's sighting. It's also said by Derenberger that the Grinning Man is in fact a species of aliens with multiple grinning men. So not just one, but a whole army of grinners, if you will.
Of grinners.
Although this is unlikely unless the aliens are shapeshifters, because it would be impossible for a race to take the exact same evolutionary path as us. However, the third sighting by the Lilly family suggests instead that it may be a ghost or spirit of some kind, and he was connected with poltergeist activity happening in the residence. It may be a prank that went too far, or a man with a mental illness. Others believe that it is a normal human man, or a hoax based off the popularity and fear of the Mothman, who had first been sighted around the same time.
I was just gonna say, isn't the Mothman's name Indrid Cold in the movie?
Is it? I've not seen the Mothman movie.
The Mothman movie. Can you look that up?
The Moth movie?
The Moth movie. I think there's a scene. That's actually a good movie. It's odd because it shouldn't be.
Mothman prophecies?
Yeah, and this guy answers a phone, and the Mothman like phones him up, and he's like, "Hello, I'm I'm Indrid Cold. Is your...
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, look at that.
Mark Pillington is Indrid Cold.
Indrid
Cold, the Mothman voice.
Yeah. Ooh.
It was the Mothman all along.
Getting scary in here.
And that's Charlie Scream's Monster of the Week.
That's a good one. That movie is surprisingly good. I was convinced it was going to be terrible.
I had not seen it.
And
Maybe I will.
I remember watching it and being like, this is good.
Mayhaps I shall.
It's always scary though, like when you go back, especially this era, like late 90s, early 2000s, like when you saw it in that time, you're like, this is good.
Right.
The CGI blends in perfectly,
right.
Whatever. And then
Does
you go
it
back
hold
later.
up? You're like,
you go back,
what?
you're like, oh, wow, that looks like crap. Yeah. But, and look at that poster. Like,
That's a good poster. I'll give
good
it
poster.
that. The Mothman Prophecies. Good poster.
Yep. Good poster.
Good job, Richie Gere.
Did he do the poster as well?
I don't think he did the poster.
He acted in it and did the poster.
He did the poster. He's
good.
multifaceted.
Yeah. That takes us to another ad from our sponsors.
We ask these children if they know when to go to emergency and when there are other options.
If, your heart stops beating, if you're really sick, if you were super duper hurt, you come. They're there to treat people that are really sick or really hurt and they need attention right away.
If you have an emergency, we're here to help. If it's not an emergency, you have options. Take control of your health. Call 811 or visit ahs.ca/options.
All right, Charlie.
What fine products.
We are back with the Israeli Super Shark Assassination Squad.
Finally.
So 2010 in Egypt. Now I know I'm going to say this wrong. I want to make sure I try to say things correctly.
Just this big old swing at it.
So I believe the resort is called Sharm el-Sheikh, and if I'm saying that
Sharm
wrong,
el-Sheikh.
Sharm el-Sheikh. Yeah. So Sharm el-Sheikh is this. It's an Egyptian resort on the Red Sea. Okay. All these people are hanging out in Egypt. They're on the Red Sea. Beautiful white sandy beaches. Just awesome place. Very safe to go. People are there with their families.
Digging it.
Yeah. Sharks show up, and as they're actually in reality not want to do, but in the movies they show up and just ripping off legs.
Basically,
people are like, oh,
every time.
yeah, that was odd. A guy got a leg taken off. Okay, and people are like, oh, that was a one-time thing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Go back in the water. But the next day, another guy gets an arm taken off, and a kid gets bit.
Chomp, 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 chomp.
And people are like, okay, lightning strikes twice, broken clock, whatever. You guys are fine. Just go back in the water. You're okay. Finally, this elderly woman, she's out in the water and just gets ripped to shreds. And so the resort is this is the third or fourth day. It's very close together. And the resort's okay, let's stay out of the water. Let's everybody off the beach. Let's go back inside the hotel. And finally admitted there was a serious problem.
We have a bit of a shark problem.
We've got a bit of a shark problem. And so what happened was, they don't know exactly what kind of shark it was, but the assumption was the oceanic white tip, I believe, which people are like, that's a friendly safety shark. That's not a
safety shark.
That's not an attack shark. And none other than Jacques Cousteau. Do you remember Jacques? Yeah, he comes in, he chimes in. He's like, oceanic white tips, most dangerous shark there is.
I don't think that's how he sounded when he said it.
Oh, how does he? Oh, he's a French guy.
He's a French guy.
Pardonnez-moi, madame et messieurs. Oceanic white tips are they're very, very dangerous. Touche pas, Monsieur Shark.
That's him.
Yeah, get off the plage, s'il vous plaît. So he's, and I don't know if he said it on his show, but he was the one who they were like, well, Jacques Cousteau, Jacques Cousteau said that there was something.
Said it was weird,
and he was the one who was like. Everybody's heard the stories of a shipwreck or a plane crash in the ocean, and everyone's goes down the super fun My Special Day at Chuck E. Cheese slide into the water. Woo! And they're like, I survived the plane crash, and then the sharks are circling and eat everybody.
Ooh.
So it's I survived a plane crash and I got eaten by a shark. That's a way to go. Yeah. Anyways, so he's like, oh, Madame and Monsieur, the shark that will get you in the water is the oceanic white tip. And So he claims that, but other scienticians are like, no.
Scientologists.
The ocean white tip, they're fine. Apparently, this is what they caught outside of the Sharm el-Sheikh resort, and they were like, this is very strange for sharks to be acting like this. The last shark they caught was this enormous white tip, and one of the guys that caught it was like, what the hell is that? And there was a little GPS marker. This is real. There's a little GPS marker on the shark, and so the internet just went nuts because they were like, why is there like a GPS marker on a shark? And they traced it back, and it was being tracked by scientists from Israel.
I think it would be a mad scientist.
So these biologists were like, we're tracking their roots, whatever, like how they go, their little cycles. Like we're tracking their what's the word? Where they're like going through their life, their I don't know, whatever the word is. I'm gonna think of it later on and be like, scream it out in the middle of the night. Their cycle, their life cycle. Thank you.
Just a quick note, when I'm editing this together now, the word I was trying to think of was migration. I'm an idiot. The word was migration. Migration patterns. Migration patterns. I'm thinking of it later on when I'm editing it. Migration!
And that was all it was for. And people were like, that's odd. Like, what are the chances that one of these with a GP, like, what else did it have?
Why do you need a laser beam on that for?
And so people were like, okay, that's really strange. But like, no one's actually got, attack shark assassination squad technology. Egypt and Israel, they're at peace on paper right now, but they've had a tense relationship. They had a couple wars, but things have been, I think, since 1979, they've been like, let's be friends.
Pretty cool.
Let's just be cool. A couple skirmishes here and there, but like,
buddy.
But then a report came out, and this is a real thing as well. So in 2010, an American facility proved that you can actually train sharks to using sense of smell. You can like make them think that there's like, oh, there's a fish over here, and they'll like go, like you activate a part of their brain, and you can guide them to go to a certain place. Yeah, this is real technology. We'll have it in the episode description. And like this American guy did it, brought it out, and people were like, oh, that's odd. And he's like, well, we can like get cameras on their heads and like put them down in depths and stuff like that. We certainly wouldn't train them to attack anybody.
Oh, no way.
No, it wouldn't assassinate anyone.
Sure, certainly not.
So someone from actually, I've got his name here. Mohammed Abdel Fadil Shusha, I hope I'm saying that right. Mohammed Abdel Fadil Shusha, the regional governor of the area in Egypt. He was like, okay, the Israelis clearly got this technology from the Americans. They're no stranger to assassination squads. This is like the aquatic version of Mossad. They have a shark team that came in, and they were trying to assassinate people on the beach with the sharks. and Israel was like, no, we don't.
Did he say it with a straight face?
He's like,
attack sharks.
Okay, so what he said was, okay, what is being said about the Mossad throwing the deadly shark in the sea to hit tourism in Egypt is not out of the question, but it does need time to confirm. It's like, okay, so he supports the idea that I mean, at least he threw it out to like an official media outlet and was like, Israel has a gang of attack sharks, the assassination sharks.
Yeah, no bigs.
Yeah, so not the friend sharks, not the protector sharks, but the assassin shark. And it's hard to say, but they're like, this could have been like a trial run, make it look really suspicious. So it turns out that in the Red Sea, this came right after the celebration of Eid, I think is how you say it. I hope I'm saying that right. And all of these like dead sheep are being thrown in the water. So the sharks got
a taste for sheep.
They got a taste for the sheep. They're like, this isn't bad. And then, will you look at that? they're taking out the kids and the old ladies at the beach. And but it was really strange. And in fact, in something like 440 years, I think the article, this amount of time, or there had been like 5, like almost one every 100 years. And then in the space of like a week, they're like, this is crazy. So, and the whole GPS thing, and the fact that the Americans did have the technology like a couple months earlier. So that is the Israeli Super Shark Assassination Squad.
That's great. Super Sharks!
Oh, another seamless explanation. So, Charlie, that's going to take us to opinion time here.
Ooh, it's opinion time. It's opinion time. Yeah.
Opinion time. Hey, everybody.
Okay, so Charlie, do you remember what our first theory here was?
GMO? No, I don't.
GMO. It's funny. It just struck me is that GMO is OMG backwards.
Oh.
There we go.
GMOMG.
And the second, I'll do the second one was Indrid Cold, the scary smiling guy who looked like a young Joe Pesci with half werewolf features.
He's a slickster.
Yeah, he's in tan pants.
So cool.
Ooh. And then our last one here, the Israeli Super Shark.
Super Sharks.
The assassination shark. So what do you think about this GMO thing? What are your feelings on that
Well,
in general?
GMOs are a real deal.
They are a real deal.
Yep.
Are they okay? No, go ahead and sorry, man. I didn't mean.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like, what's your? They're a real thing, but like, do you think that I mean, there's a lot of countries that are like just ban them entirely, and here in Canada, they're like,
no, this is fine. No, this is fine.
This is perfectly fine.
This is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly think that they're as dangerous as lots of people, as most people say they are. Mm-hmm. And that, like, when they go and then they take over a neighboring farmer's crop, and then that's it. That neighboring farmer is doomed.
Yeah, man.
And then that takes over the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and you know, just wipes out all the other different kinds of wheat or what have you.
And it's odd that as GMO has risen, things like gluten sensitivity, all of a sudden that's kind of become a thing, and there's loads of people that are like legitimately sensitive to gluten. There are people who are like have like straight up allergic reactions to it that are really serious.
Yeah. For some, you're saying it's a chose intolerance.
I guess for some people they're like, I just don't feel good when I eat a lot of bread, and it's
which is fair,
but that doesn't mean you're genuinely celiac. I mean that just means whatever. It's like I get a hangover when I drink too much beer. I must have.
It's so weird.
It's just crazy. I had a buddy who for years thought he was lactose intolerant. But what it really was he was eating like a giant bowl of like Mueslix every day, and he's like, I have these like out of control poops that just explosions, and I don't know why, and I'm cutting down dairy, and I'm cutting this down, and
just eating a giant load of fiber.
His wife was like, cut down on the like liter bucket.
Daryl, you're eating all the fiber. Stop it! Don't wash it down with Metamucil.
He's like, yeah, it's odd how it stopped when things.
Now I gotta ask you something.
Sure.
You said, I have, quote, you did the classic line. I have a friend who...
I do. I know. Yeah. I don't want to
say if it's you.
It's not me. No, it's not me. No, I wouldn't be able to eat a big bowl of cereal. The thought of like a bowl of cereal with milk in there, like, oh my. Ugh.
Yum.
That just makes me want to vomit. Oh.
Hey, it's great.
Yeah. GMOs, man. I mean, GMOs. I'm like, personally, we shouldn't be afraid of the science. Like
science is fun.
Science, and I do agree with the idea that GMOs will probably be the solution to world hunger and like the whole thing with if you take the digestive tract of like kangaroos don't produce methane, cows do. So if you could put something with kangaroos into cows, then cows would stop producing methane, and then it would, things like that.
Call them cowgaroos.
Yeah, cowgaroos. That's. If anyone uses that, I want you to credit Charlie with that, please. A cowgaroo. But, honestly, man, I mean, and people around the world are like, oh, it's, you don't be afraid of it. It's fine. But like here.
But there's differences. There's progress.
Yeah.
But then there's big name corporations
just
who
jumping
are just
in.
Getting their name. And they're like, now it's all ours.
Oh, dude.
It's all ours now, Andrew.
Totally, man. And Monsanto, they had their thing where they're kind of the real villain of the world, like they're the scary corporation that everyone's afraid of. I don't know why, because they're not even the biggest GMO company in the world, which is funny. They're just kind of the ones that were like
managed to get the worst publicity.
They got the worst publicity, which is probably why they changed their name. But they got served with like I think 4 or 5 cancer cases that were like, you need to pay this person $250 million to to like recompensate them or what, like these court cases. And even in the court case, they were like, we don't even know what causes cancer, and you're just saying that it was this stuff, but like the science is not clear. Totally. Here we go. So Monsanto is to ditch its famous name after
rid of it. Yeah, it's not serving us very well.
Well, it really isn't. I mean, they're like,
let's just get rid of that.
It's a PR nightmare. But Bayer, what I read was that Bayer's actually the one that bought them out. So Bayer's the bigger one, but you never hear Bayer being thrown around. Yeah. So they were really thrown under the bus in terms of PR, but GMOs in general, I'm like, if you can figure out a way to like, because I mean, like, I honestly, I know it sounds weird now, but I think we'll be doing things like printing food very, very soon, like using 3D printers to like put the ingredients in or whatever.
Star Trek started it.
I know, man. And like I've seen 3D printers in action now, and I'm like, this is amazing.
I can't wait to eat that.
Or you print yourself like cups and whatever. Like I think we'll be printing a lot of stuff for some kind of variation on that. Which I'll probably sound like an idiot in a couple years where they're like, that never caught on.
They never did that.
Yeah, it'll be like the laser disc of our generation. They're like, laser discs, we're going to be the thing.
It's going to be total Betamax.
But it's odd. I don't know, man. So GMOs, I'm like, I would like to know what's in it. I'd like to be able to read ingredients. But also the people, because on the other side, there's people that are like, when I grew up, there wasn't a bunch of things on the ingredients list that I couldn't pronounce.
I don't know what half these things are.
And it's like, just because you can't pronounce it, that doesn't mean it's bad for you.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you, though.
Well, no, but I mean, if you look at like the scientific name for pectin, for example, if you're going to make some jam.
Oh, you just easily said what that was.
Yeah, but like that wasn't even labeled on. It would just be like raspberries. And so And the generation of people that say that kind of thing, oftentimes, if you look at those old cookbooks, it's like, throw in 2 teaspoons of MSG, and that was fine, but, yeah. Have you ever seen a recipe for, like a cup of MSG in your waffles or whatever?
Oh, man, a cup of MSG.
Yeah. So what do you think about Indrid Cold? Do you think that's...
He's got a lovely smile and impeccable wardrobe taste.
Doesn't that feel like kind of like a thing where it's like we've got about 500 different accounts and we're trying to put it all into one thing.
Piece them together.
There was a guy in my room smiling at me. There was a ghost, and we saw some aliens,
and also paranormal, and also this. Probably just the same species.
Like a creepy dude. It sounds like the guy that hangs out with Curious George. Like just a
man
weird
in the yellow hat.
Yeah, just a weird hat and a weird suit.
The man in the yellow hat got real smiley.
Ugh. What I didn't like was that he didn't have any features on his face. He was just like,
yeah, that was weird. Sometimes they were like, some of the accounts are like, he's just a flat faced. And the other one said they had real beady eyes. So get your stories straight.
And speaking of stories straight, do you believe that Israel has an attack squad of super sharks?
Yes. 100%.
Man, I normally don't buy into things like this. I don't think that Israel targeted the beach. I think the sharks went there because of this lambs in the water.
The lambs do.
But the fact that they do have technology where you can control sharks, and not control them as in like go open the car door, get in the seat, put it in reverse, go, like not complex things. Yeah, but like go here, and if there's blood, you know what a shark's going to do after that.
Sure. But there's that thing where, like, if you cut a guy's, if you're messing around in a person's brain and you poke certain spots of the brain, it'll just do stuff.
It'll just do stuff, and that's what it is. So there's a little implant that'll make it like
tiny electrical shock.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I smell fish 5 kilometers away, and then
get it.
Zip. Yeah. So, assassination by shark.
I was real disappointed that there was no lasers.
Well, that's the next step, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like when you arm.
You already got a GPS in there. That means you've got technology in there. You could have Borg shark.
Oh, I just want one thing: sharks.
Sharks with lasers,
freaking
laser beams. That's it. That's the dream.
Yeah. This. I don't know if we gave our opinion on it. This beer is really good.
I love it. I've enjoyed it many a time.
Yeah. Do you want to read
the? Sure, I'll read this thing. The outro credits. Well, wasn't that a really friendly time full of tender feels and joy? It's nice when things are nice. It really is. We really do appreciate you stopping by for a listen, and please do feel free to rate, review, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, spread the good word. You can check out all of our past episodes and social media stuff at itsaconspiracypodcast.com. And we'll be back on February 1st with another bag of potatoes. Take care, friends. Bye.
C'est une conspiration. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.